I've been a stunt person for around 10 years now, working mostly in TV shows in New York, but all over the place now. So what we're going to do is we're going to understand what I think is the most essential stunt there is just a punch, punching someone in the face on camera and doing it the way film people do a punch. Then we're going to punch Bob in the face. Then we're going to punch me in the face. And then we're going to maybe watch some bigger stunts. And if we have time, we're going to film a bigger stunt. But I think we only have a few people, so it'll be harder to do a big stunt right now. But yeah, thanks you guys for being here. Let's move right ahead and talk a little bit more about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about me. So I was a William & Mary student, graduated in 2004. I studied mostly math, but I was on the gymnastics team. When I graduated, I didn't know what I was going to do because I didn't really want to do that thing anymore. You can't really just keep studying math your whole life unless that's really what you really, really want to do. It's not what I wanted to do. So I tried to become both a cameraman and a stunt person. And through a long winding path, I've sort of developed that career. I've also found my way into making apps because I was a computer science minor. So why not? Why not keep making little things? It's all, in my world, it all kind of connects in one way or another. So we'll see if we can loop back on that and have that make sense. So first, we're going to talk about it, right? We're always going to do this stuff as safely as possible. How do you perform a punch? Now, there's 3 ways to perform a punch. You can make contact, which is how you might imagine a punch happens in real life and maybe in some movies. You can make contact and wear pads. So if I'm getting hit in the stomach, I could just wear a pad on my stomach and let someone hit me as hard as they want. And I have that pad, so it won't hurt me at all. I can just do that many times. The other thing we can do is fake it because the camera is not your eyes. The camera has one perspective and can only see one angle. And we can trick it if we move fast enough into thinking that was a punch. The human eye sees at a certain amount of frames per second. The camera usually films at about 24. So your eye is much faster than the camera. So we can use that difference to see some more subtlety and we can trick you. So let's step over and see what we can do to show what a punch looks like. I'm going to switch to my wireless camera and it's going to shake around a little bit. Bear with me. So there's our camera. And we have our volunteer today, Kimmy. Kimmy is helping. Kimmy's a stunt performer. She's worked on many, many movies. And she studies a lot of sword fighting and every martial art like many stunt people. So I'm going to frame this up. We are looking at our friend Bob. And we are going to have Kimmy step in and set up what is basically the most classic kind of punch, which is just a right cross. So Kimmy steps in. We can see a little bit of Kimmy. Let me see from the other side, Kimmy. So left cross. Thank you. So Kimmy's just going to throw a punch and going really slow, like 10% speed, Kimmy. We see that Kimmy's fist crosses Bob's face right on the nose and Bob isn't reacting. So it looks like maybe she's hitting him. It doesn't actually matter if Kimmy's 1 inch away or if she backs away another little bit and she's there. If we do this quick enough, you're not going to really know the difference. So the things we want to avoid doing when we're doing this punch is we never want to get too close. We never want to get so close that we could actually hit someone, because do a good version of the punch, Kimmy. So just missing him by a foot, right? So we can't tell how far away Kimmy's hand is, but when we come around, we can see that there's a lot of safety in there. And when you're filming this and editing, there's no difference. Yep. So Kimmy can do a big reaction, but Bob is giving nothing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pan a little bit to the side. We're going to reposition. I'm going to help Kimmy, because you think a punch is one thing and a punch is actually a dance with 2 people. So now if Kimmy's throwing that same punch at 10% speed, it comes across. As I see it there, I'm going to react. And even at that speed, you start to feel the connection. As long as I do my job, boom, across. So ready, let's do one at full speed. Ready? So I'm just here walking up. Hi, Kimmy, how's it going? Oh, right. So I can assume, I can't see anybody, but I can assume that you guys felt that, and that looked totally right. So I've got lens there, right? Another one, I can do it. Oh, I can do a little bit less. Oh, but as a stunt person, I have a trick, which is I keep my hair as long and scraggly as possible, because when I get hit, my hair goes all over the place. But if my hair was nice and tight, I'd have to sell that entire performance with just my neck. So let's see Kimmy do it. Kimmy's got her hair up. I'm gonna turn this so I can see everything nice and perfectly. So if I'm coming in here, Kimmy's there. We can see that Kimmy let her hair down. So when I do a punch, she throws her hair, and her hair does most of the acting for me. So that versus what Bob was giving us, which is no performance at all. Here, when we do this in real life, when I've done this previous years with William & Mary students, William & Mary middle school students, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, all they have to do is put their fist across between the lens and someone's face. I'm not even close. I'm so far away from Kimmy. We're almost socially distancing. But her reaction always makes it seem like that. So that doesn't matter whether we're moving around and fighting, and then suddenly I throw that punch. It will always work because that's always there. And then we can use a little bit of editing to make that work a little better. Thank you, Kimmy. Stand by for 1 second. I'll see if we need anything else. So coming back to our Zoom call setup, does anyone have any questions, comments, or anything different that they want to see? The basic idea of a punch, right? I can't teach you everything there is to know about stunts, but what I can teach you is that almost every stunt has the exact same rules. We want to maybe do a little contact, maybe wear some pads, and maybe make really some fake contact. So that's what Kimmy and I did. We did the fake, totally fake version of it. Fist crosses her face and she turns. That's all we had to do. And my hair is a total mess so that it works on camera for me. Casey, that'd be perfect. Your hair's perfect. Everybody who's here, right, has great hair for selling a reaction to a punch. So you can practice this at home if you want to. The first trick I learned was just take your chin and push yourself to the side. You will hurt your neck a little bit, I promise you. Doing stunts, you will definitely hurt yourself. So if you want to hurt yourself, go do stunts. I don't need to give a warning about this is safe. It's not safe. You will definitely hurt yourself doing it. So maybe don't, maybe reconsider it. But if you want to, that's how you do it. You warm up your neck and learn to just throw your neck to the side rather than seeing it coming and throwing your neck over, because then you're telegraphing what is happening. So every single stunt, this is my transition to everything. Every single stunt, it doesn't matter whether you're being lit on fire, doesn't matter whether you're being hit by a car, doesn't matter whether you're being kicked or hit with a baseball bat. Those are all basically the same trick. We're either going to do one of three things. We're going to make a little bit of contact. When I've been hit by a car, we make a little bit of contact and we use a little bit of editing to make it look more dangerous. It is dangerous. It's very dangerous. That's one of the most dangerous stunts I've ever done, is getting hit by a car. But it's driving 10, 12, 13 miles an hour. It looks like 30 because of the camera. Did I wear pads? Yeah. So I'm in number 2 category. I'm absolutely wearing as many pads as I can for that, because I'm gonna fall on the ground really hard. The hardest part is getting hit by the car. You get hit once and then you go flying in the air and you land, you do it again. Fake contact is perfect. What we're just doing with that punch, that's always the safest thing to do. So any stunt is the same thing. Make a little bit of contact or make a mixture or fake contact. Does that sort of philosophy make sense? Right? So really, if you can be as safe as possible, you're trying to push yourself over from real territory into fake territory. A professional will be going very far into fake territory. Someone who's unprofessional, if you can believe it, there are people who just show up on set and don't know how to do stunts and say, oh, I know how to do stunts. You just hit people, right? And you say, no, please don't do that. We were just talking about a famous actress who just kicked people in their fight scene, and they didn't even use the footage. So this stuff happens all the time. It's great to be able to move stuff from real to fake, fake being safe territory. Are there any like general questions about what we did? If you want, you can ask questions in the chat. You can talk. People don't talk in Zoom calls very much. You guys have a year's practice of sitting Zoom calls. But I'd love to talk to people if anybody has something. But I definitely need some questions.
Yeah, we have.
If you have a question, yeah.
Han.
Yeah, so I have a question is that as you say, fake contact is always safer than the real contact. But I wonder, will the visual performance have any difference? Like a fake contact might not perform as good as a real contact?
In almost every case, the fake contact looks better than real contact. It's kind of surprising. In a fight situation, I can say that's pretty much true. Because that reaction that we were showing, throwing our head to the side, we were making it very clear to the viewer what happened. But if someone gets hit in real life, oftentimes there's almost no reaction to their face at all, but it hurts really badly. There's a famous Mike Tyson quote, which is, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And that is exactly what happens with a stunt, is we're not gonna do one punch. It's gonna be a punch, a hit to the stomach, a kick to the back, a series of stunts in a row. So if you're making any of that contact, no one has a plan after the first punch anymore. And we have to do, what we would say like a 30 beat fight or a 40 beat fight. If we're hitting every single time, maybe you get one take, but it's going to look pretty silly. And really, I haven't seen any situations where, outside of Tony Jaa, who's like an East Asian martial artist who does full contact, it feels different, and they shoot it in a way that makes it really violent, and you can feel how violent it is. But he's really hurting people. So there's almost no situation where doing real contact looks better, because it's a camera. It's not real life. That's a great question, though. That's a really good question. I bet I could find some exceptions. Like lighting someone on fire. You can't fake light someone on fire, but you can make it a little bit safer. When you light someone on fire, you wear what the equivalent of a fire pad, which is just, you build up between your skin, which can get hurt, and what's being lit on fire, which is your wardrobe, the clothes you're wearing for that scene. So we just sneak things in between there that is basically a water-based gel. So water doesn't burn, but it will disappear over time. So the more we can put underneath there, the longer you can be on fire. I've done 2 burns for 25 seconds that were my full body. If I can pull them up right now, I didn't prepare that, but I can definitely show you guys that next and show you how basically every stunt is just these same ideas. Any other questions at this point?
Jamie,
Yes.
what's the most dangerous stunt you've ever done?
We did, I worked on this movie, Noah. Darren Aronofsky directed it, and it was dangerous we did, they had Noah's Ark, right? I'm gonna go full screen. So we had Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark is about 40 feet tall, 80 feet, 100 feet long, 60 feet wide. And they had a ramp built, the stairs up to Noah's door in Noah's Ark, right? They have to actually build it. So they built 3 Noah's Arks. They built a set of stairs. The stairs are built out of real logs, a set of maybe 30 logs. And they were like, great, in this version of Noah's Ark, all of you are trying to get onto Noah's Ark so that you don't die in the flood that you were all pretending wouldn't happen. And then when it does happen, you try to storm the Ark. So they went, okay, we want you all to fall down the stairs. And there's 16 of us falling down those stairs together. If you go 4 feet to the left, you fall off the stairs onto the ground, 10-foot drop onto the ground. If you go 4 feet the other way, you hit a wall and then you're going to stop falling down the stairs and they're going to get mad at you and tell you to do it again. To add complexity to that, which is already a very complicated stunt, they're going to pour 1,000 gallons of water on us to motivate us to fall down those stairs. So 16 people in a river of water falling down log stairs. And we did that about 7 times. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Nobody got hurt badly. One guy got a bruise on his leg that was hard to describe, but it was like this big and wrapped all the way around his leg. And they did not show that in the movie. We shot it 7 times, took half of a day, a whole crew, half of a day, 20 people or so falling down those stairs, getting paid to fall downstairs. And you don't see 1 second of it. It's very common. And the other part about that that makes it very dangerous is we were doing that overnight. So everyone is exhausted. It's 3 a.m. and you're falling down the stairs 7 times in a flood of water and it's 40 degrees outside. So that's usually how it happens. Is the simple version of the story is we fell downstairs and they did some water. The complicated version is you've been very tired because you've been staying up overnight for 7 days a week or 5 days a week for 3 weeks in a row. And that's what they ask for. And I have no footage of it. I'm going to try to find, if anybody has any other questions like that, I can totally jump in on them. I know I have my stunt reel here and I can share that with you guys and we can walk through it bit by bit. But feel free to chime in. Thank you for your question. I found my stunt reel. We're ready. I'm going to add a window. I'm using a very complicated program that makes this difficult. Great, so everyone should be able to see that. I'm gonna try to make that disappear. So we're gonna watch my 1:18 stunt reel. This is a good length for any reel if you're ever gonna work in film. About a minute's pretty good length for starting, unless you're really, really good. All right, pushing play, we'll walk through it. This is Saturday Night Live. You didn't see this sketch most likely. That was the first stunt I ever did on a union show. That's the first stunt I ever did on anything. You've never seen this movie. We did this just for fun. This is again just for fun because a lot of times they don't use the best stuff. So we just take what we have and film it ourselves. This is again Saturday Night Live. That is The Rock. He touched me. He was the nicest man. I'm the guy in the pink boa. Yep, that's I'm doubling him. That's John Oliver. John Oliver's TV show. This is just for fun, for practice. Just for fun. Just for fun. The best stuff's all just for fun. Very silly. I'm going to walk through that piece by piece. Did anyone have any questions about that stuff? We'll go backwards, starting with this one. All right, so this I think is 3 shots. If we go through it very slowly, there's the shot of the actor with his hair. He's a little older than me. His hair's gray. I'm a little bit bigger than him, but just about right. The pants fit. So behind him, we've got cut to him. Now this is clearly me. And this is real. A friend of mine driving that car hits me. This is a very small parking lot. To the left, it's about maybe 20 feet to that till you get to that fence. And then the other direction, maybe it's 25, maybe 1 car length or a car length and a half. So she didn't have much time to go very fast, but I'm not a very big person. So I got hit once by the hood of the car. Then I broke her windshield. And then we cut to this. You notice I'm actually in the wrong orientation. My head is facing the other way this time. I messed up. because I did a backflip. In reality, I did a backflip, and that's how I ended. So that's just, this shot is not me getting hit by the car. I actually just start on the hood, and she drives, and I throw myself off. You can see I catch myself. Look, I catch myself. I'm a big cheater. I'm doing it as safely as I can. Roll, fall with my face down so that you can't see my face, so that you can't figure out that I'm not him. That's definitely me. If you go really slowly through Jackie Chan's movies, you can see that that's not him every single time. This is a behind the scenes, because the real version of this doesn't actually look that amazing. You can't tell that the flames are at some points almost, 1.5 times. They're 50% over my head. Yeah, they're almost touching the lights there, and it's 25 seconds long. The gag of that, it's just a silly stunt. They were doing boxcar racers, and the boxcars go down, and then one of them just bursts into flames. That's the entire thing. It's an excuse for a stunt. Nothing too interesting about these commercials. I got this commercial because I was a gymnast, and they asked me if someone mentioned this commercial to me and said, "Can you do parkour?" And it was early on when parkour had just started, so I said, I can fake it, and they hired me for that. I filmed my parkour reel in a minute-long parkour reel and sent it to them, and they accepted me. This is way higher than it looks. This is about 7 stories. And the challenge is that I can't run off of this ledge. I have to stand on it and swing my foot to get that motion. What they wanted was a shot of me with my legs out, straight out, like in a split. They got a photo of it for the poster. You can see how high it is, but this is about 7 stories. What you can't see is that there's a line on me. We made this safer. They went, well, you can kind of do it for real, but let's put a line on him. And just in case he slips and doesn't make it, I would make it by 2 or 3 feet. Just in case, we can hold him, and he'll fall over the edge 2-3 feet, and we'll be able to hold him. So same thing. We did a little bit real, a little bit fake. Did it look any less fake because we did it safer? No. I'm jumping off of a trampoline in this shot, and this is the only shot that's pretty much real. I have no pads. I'm wearing short sleeves. That's really concrete. But I didn't really hit my head. I kind of just came close, and they shook the camera for me. This same shot, I'm probably wearing a ton of pads, but I'm also in wires lifting me up. And in the end of this real shot, I hit the ground, but they cut out of it, so I don't have that real footage. This is like an ultra low budget movie. And look, it's the thing we just talked about. A big punch coming from the side. I see it. All I do is turn. I don't think you could do a real punch that looks more like I just got hit. It's only going to look less like it. And it's all about facial expressions. This guy being very strong. If you watch the show Gotham, the guy in the red is the stunt double for the main character in Gotham. And that's just, there's no trick. I hurt my foot doing that. I just did it, and it was a bad idea. I should have worn thicker shoes, but I wore very thin shoes. This is a very bad shot. Same trick. There's a lot of this one punch. He takes his left hand, crosses across my face, totally misses me, and I react like I get hurt a lot. And then I fall down the stairs. The trick to falling down the stairs is you have pads. This is the only, I can talk about the day with The Rock, because he is the nicest person in the whole world. And everybody knows that already, but he really is the nicest person in the whole entire world. Even his stunt doubles are really nice people. So we came in, we planned out a fight before The Rock showed up. We were like, he's going to throw you around and like drag you across he's going to throw you into that corner. You're going to knock stuff over. drag you into that counter in the back, drag you across it, and then he's gonna pick you up and throw you onto the examination table, and then he's gonna lift you up and put your head through the ceiling. This is like a drop ceiling. This is really just some room in NBC's office. NBC just converted this into a medical office for the day. So we told him what we were gonna do. The stunt coordinator went up to him and was like, "This is the fight," and he just nodded his head and was like, "That sounds great. That sounds great." And very politically, as soon as that guy left, he went, "Cool. So Jamie, let me understand. You're gonna throw yourself into that corner, and then you're gonna drag yourself across that counter, and then you're gonna throw yourself onto that onto the examination table. And I don't think I can lift you up that high. Is that okay?" And I was like, "That's fine, Mr. Dwayne The Rock. You're fine." And it looked really good. And they told us it was going to be out of focus. And it is out of focus. And all I have to do is stumble and then knock stuff over, and the shot looks amazing. All he did was put his hands on me. And I thought, for the first second, I thought, oh, he's being very lazy. He doesn't want to do it like hardcore. Maybe he doesn't want to hurt himself because the movies he's in are big budget, giant movies. He's getting paid $30 million. If he hurts himself working on Saturday Night Live one day, that would be pretty stupid. And then I realized this guy has a lot of wrestling experience, and wrestling is not always that real either. So yeah, he did that. And that was that whole day. If you have any idea what I'm about to say about this is exactly the same thing that I showed you guys before. I pretend to kick. I'm wearing pink. My friend Jason is in a black leather suit for this show Happy, and he just turns his head to the side. It is very surprising how much mileage you get out of this one simple stunt. I'm gonna pause for a second, just see. I'm just sort of rambling at this point about all the stunts I did and how great I am. I'm sort of a middle-level stunt person, to tell you the truth. So I would love to answer your questions more specifically. I'm going to thank Kimmy for being here. Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Anyone have any questions in general about what I've said, or has more questions about stunts and how it works on like a big movie or a small movie, or how to put stunts in your own movie?
Yeah, feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand or just unmute.
Yeah. Do it. I dare you. I'd be really curious what people understand from what I'm saying. Have I ever gotten a serious injury? On that car hit, this is going to sound really silly, I hurt my fingertips on the car hit. I don't tell too many people about it because I'm supposed to be tough, but yeah, like I landed very hard on my fingertips. I got hit by a car. My body took the impact. I could have hit my head on the ground. I did a backflip and landed face first. I could have done a lot of things wrong, but the only long-term injury I've ever really sustained is my fingertips in that one. Not much else. Otherwise, it's just very small little muscle pulls. And I was a gymnast when I was at William and Mary, so I'm used to that stuff. That doesn't scare me. It doesn't really hurt me for a long time. It's maybe a short amount of pain, but it's a very fun job. So I'm willing to have some good parts, some bad parts. Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate you asking. No, thank you. Let's keep scanning through. So was that someone chiming in?
I was just going to ask you a question, Jamie.
Yeah.
I've known you for a couple of years, but I don't know if other people on here joined the earlier class or not, but do you get more work as a stuntman or more work as a camera op?
This last year has been a lot more work as stunts. Actually, the last few years have been a lot more in stunts. I'm working almost every day this week. I worked on a show called Dickinson, and next week I'm working on a show called Maisel. I'll actually be in Richmond on Monday working on another show. I don't know what it is. that's sort of my life. Is I don't know what I'm working on, but I just know what my responsibility is to be safe and to keep people around me safe and not actually hurt myself, but make it look pretty good. Yeah, but it's been stunts definitely for the last several years, but I still get called for these camera jobs because that's how I got in, and that knowledge has helped me a lot over the years. I've been able to. This week, there's a famous person in the shot, and I'm on her left. And what I need to make sure that I'm doing is there's 3 cameras. Do not block her. Do my job, which is to get shot and fall down, but don't block her. So I'm looking at where the cameras are. And if I can, I make eye contact with that camera operator who I know, and I sort of back up and he nods his head like, yeah, do that. Because he's trying to figure out how to get me out of the way and make sure it's all about this famous person, because that's really what we like in movies, is seeing famous people's faces. It seems very simple, like a simple point of view. I understand their story and everything else, but that's really one of the main things, is make sure we can see the famous person and what they're doing. Every single shot is about them. I'm just there to tell a small story of like, and that guy got hurt.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Hi. I'm just wondering what your training routine is like. Do you like put training time into stunt work? And if so, how do you go about that?
Yeah, so thanks for your question, Adam. I was doing training today where I am right now. This is a stunt training facility. It's basically just a warehouse in Brooklyn somewhere that we don't tell anyone about. We keep the doors open, we wear masks, and we do our training as safely as possible. Film's a very funny thing because I've had more COVID tests than anyone, but I try to keep, I've been doing it for about 10 years. So I don't do as much training as I used to, but it required years and years of training in order to learn how to do just that one motion and any other motion just like that on cue, do it safely, and not be nervous while doing it. Because I also have to perform. I have to be that character at the same time. So you have to do these things so much that it's second nature. As an analytical person, I break down all of those things and think about all the micro steps that are required, but basically I have to do it on reaction. The stunt we were working on today, just for fun. You saw half of my reel was just for fun, but the stunt we wanted to do today was I'm running on a wall. So I'm sideways on a wall, being held up by a wire. And then someone else is flying in the air and slashes a sword towards me. I get cut. And when I get cut, the people who are holding the wires let go of the wire and I fall to the ground. And so I'm falling from about 6 feet up onto mats. And for me, that's fine. As a gymnast, I was falling 18 feet onto mats. I fell all the time as a gymnast. So a lot of practice, but I try to get as much practice in as possible because you never know what they're going to ask for on a film set. That's true of every department. The more you know, the more prepared you're going to be. So if someone asks, hey, how do you run on a wall? I took notes. I have a notebook that I write every little piece that I do in there. So I know, okay, we used one rope attached just to my hip, and that was enough. It was painful, but the shot's only 5 seconds long. So I can do that for a cool shot because that's going to make me better as a performer. And maybe I can think of some things that would make it hurt less down the road. There's not a lot of, New York has a very specific set of stunts that happen a lot in New York because New York started as an area with, Law and Order was filming, Sopranos was filming. So it's a lot of like cops and robbers, procedural stuff, people with guns shooting you. And the stunts are not very complicated, but now New York has become more of a central hub for filming and for TV shows and for movies. So there's a lot more I need to learn how to do. I've been learning to ride a horse. There's not a lot of horse things that happen in New York. But last week there was something that required a horse, and I was not available because I haven't practiced horseback riding enough to be an expert horseback rider. But I need to know a lot of skills. I practice driving, I practice motorcycle riding, mountain biking, fighting. I'm not that interested in martial arts. I sort of have like a white belt in every different discipline. So I've gone to 10 to 20 different schools in Brooklyn. Karate, Kung Fu, Capoeira, ninjutsu, and then styles that are just so complicated that I don't even remember how to pronounce them. And then you can see that when I was just showing over here, I bounce off trampolines as much as I can, because sometimes they're going to ask you to put on a tiger suit, and when you wear that tiger suit, you can't see very well. So you have to be so good at hitting that trampoline with a basketball that you can jump in the air with only this much visibility and then land without breaking your ankle, because I had to do this stunt over and over and over again for rehearsal. They rehearsed this one stunt for 2 days because there were so many moving pieces. Yeah, good question. I train as much as I can, but sometimes I get lazy, very lazy.
I have a question. How did you get involved in doing stunt work, like for feature films? And then what does the process kind of look when you're there on set?
Yeah, I'll give you the overall. There's 2 great ways to get into stunts. The first one is your father or your mother is a famous stunt person and they've been doing it for 40 years. So if you were born into it, great. They raised you with the right mentality. You might just have been raised with the right mentality just because your parents were sort of wannabe stunt people. They just, were like, okay, you're a 3-year-old, you're gonna ride a motorcycle now, and we're gonna keep you or train you how to do all this stuff safely. The other way is to become very good at one sport, then do live shows like Universal Studios or Busch Gardens has live shows where stunt people do these live shows. They're kind of big and wacky, and like they're trying to show a large group of people. Film stunts are a little bit different than theatrical live stunts like you would do at a theme park, but you do that for a couple of years and then you would be a beginner. So you've done all of that work and then you'll be a beginner. My route was a little different because I got a lot of really bad advice from people and I picked up on some of the wrong information. So if you wanted to do it, I'm not the only William and Mary stunt person. I'm one of 2, and then 2 other. There's 4 William and Mary gymnasts who have done film stunts. That gymnastics is a really good background. You could also become if you were very good at martial arts and really love martial arts, you could learn martial arts and then learn how to adjust those martial arts to make them safer and make them. I'm very good at missing punches. If I ever got into a real fight, I would miss every punch and I would react and throw myself to the ground every time a punch came anywhere near me. You have to, as a real martial artist, you'd have to actually train a lot and learn how to unlearn some of the dangerous parts of what you're doing. But yeah, the general route, my route was that I graduated William and Mary as a gymnast. I'd gone to Olympic qualifiers as a gymnast and I didn't know what to do. I was a math major. I knew I liked film and I liked performing. And my first job was bouncing off of trampolines and slam dunking a basketball for the Boston Celtics. Very silly job, but I was really happy to have any kind of job graduating. When I graduated, the job market was tough. So I did that and I went, this is pretty cool. And then I decided I would work as a cameraman. I worked as a cameraman in Boston a little bit, but there's not a lot of film shooting in Boston. So you work on a lot of very, very small things. So I moved to LA to work on the biggest movies I could. And I got a lot of experience there. And the real way I got into stunts was I looked on Craigslist to find roommates. And I saw an ad that said 2 stunt people looking for a roommate. And I called them up and said, I will be your new roommate. And they interviewed me and I interviewed like it was the most important job interview of my life. And it paid off because they let me be their roommate and they trained me in some of the basics. But I never ended up doing live shows, which would have been really good training. You get a lot of general experience. I never went to stunt school, which is a good, like, you can get like a week's worth of training, but you really need like years of training. So it's a great way to get the basics and get some background information. The best stunt school I know of is it's either Portland, Oregon, or Washington State. There's lots of other ones that will take your money and show you what I just showed you over the course of a week. But it's a lot of practicing yourself and getting that basic information. Because if you just go out and try it yourself based on YouTube videos, I can tell you that there's no professional people teaching stunts on YouTube or giving that information away. They're actually hiding all the real information and not being very willing to tell you much of anything. It's like the magic trick. It's like magicians. They don't want to tell you what's going on because then they think you'll take their job. It's much harder than that. And it's a fun job, but it's also kind of silly when you think about it. I play pretend for a living, like a child. Hi, Liz.
Hello.
Do you have a question?
I do. Yes. I'm wondering how much CG impacts stunt work, if at all, if that's changed how you all do your work. It seems like it's a part of so many productions these days. I'm wondering if it's impacted stunt work at all.
If COVID, did you say COVID is impacted?
No, like CGI.
CGI, not really. I know there's certain stunts they don't do much anymore. They don't do high falls anymore. I've only been asked once or twice to do high falls. So I have high falls on my stunt reel. You saw me jumping from 50 feet in the air onto an airbag to cushion me. I have been a part of one high fall where I was helping safety the person, and they had 4 wires on them. 4, so that if one failed, there would still be 3 left over. And even if 2 failed, there would still be 2 left over. So he basically just had to trust that those wires would have him. I haven't heard of anyone doing any high falls higher than 25, 30 feet in my area in a long time. They can be dangerous even at heights of 14 feet. I've had some friends who are pretty seriously injured at low, what they call a low fall height, because your head doesn't care. After higher than 6 feet, it's very dangerous without safety equipment. It's very easy to get hurt above that height. Surprisingly, very low height, something you probably experience on a daily basis. You can see a 6-foot gap somewhere. But yeah, that's one they don't do anymore. They might supplement a fire burn. If you look up Game of Thrones, you'll see the fire burns that they do. They do most that I know of for real, but they might add a little bit more. You could maybe add 10% more fire and no one would ever know the difference. I think viewers are much more attuned to CGI, so it has to be very good these days. But even I'm trying to figure out how I can use CG to process like the little bit of filmmaking that I do, which is mostly fight scenes and small scenes like this that are sort of professional development for my career. But yeah, CG, you can do a lot, and there's a lot of stunt people that study the special effects so that they know how they should do their job a little bit different. Yeah,
so is there a stunt? Is there a stunt you really want to add to your reel, like your dream stunt?
I don't think I have like a dream stunt. No, there's like a bucket like I would like to do a high fall, and I've been asked, and then the stunt went away. They were like, no, we decided not to do it. I think I just like doing a lot of different stunts, a lot of very like, my favorite stuff is very like silly sort of stunts. So the one where I'm wearing like a big feather boa, the first stunt it doesn't look that cool. I swing on a rope with my legs straddled and I pick that guy up by his head and we both swing back and forth a couple of times. And it's a lot of faking that. So like, I'm happy with how it looks because it's so silly, but I'd like to do some stunts like that are a little bit more real myself. But what I've learned as a performer all around, and I talk to actors and stunt people, and they say sort of the same thing. If there's something if you want to be a performer or an actor, you're going to spend a lot of time waiting around for someone to give you that perfect stunt. But if you want to do a certain stunt, you should just go do it. Just take your phone and film that performance. If you need people to spend $1 million around you, then your dream is a little bit off. The performing thing you can do for any budget. And I can do it safely with people that I know for a $25 space rental fee. And I'm not going to do a fire burn here because that's actually very dangerous, but I do a lot of silly things in this space, and you can follow me on Instagram and see those. Those are my two shout outs. My two plugs are, you can follow me on Instagram. I think my Instagram handle is James Northrup. Yes, it is. And then the other one is, you should follow the Vizzies. So I'll write this in the chat. So the Vizzies is my contribution to the world of stunts. The Vizzies are a previs awards show. So an award show, we don't actually do a show because we don't do anything in person, but you can watch the best stuff that stunt people do on their own. We have our own like rules for how people film these previses, and you do a previs professionally for a show like some Marvel TV show or a movie. They don't want you to show up on set and then go, well, what should we do today? And how should we film it? They want you to do a small version of that all by yourself, do all the stunts first, and then show them and say, look, we can do this. We have proof we can do it. We know how to do it. We can do it fast. They film these amazing movies and no one ever sees them. You look on YouTube and these are the best performers doing the most complicated stuff, directing themselves, and they get 32 views, 100 views. Some guys are a little bit more popular, but you've never seen any of this stuff before. And I made an Instagram award show called the Vizzies to sort of make a joke about it, but also celebrate how great people are and all the work they're doing. It's very fun and silly. We've been running it for 2 months. It has, it's a small world Instagram meme account in a way, so it has 300 followers. So, but I think it's a lot of fun, and there's actually some amazing performances that people are doing for free or basically never to be seen publicly. And this is like a little sneak peek at it.
I just said, yeah, that sounds really cool.
It is really cool. How much fight people? So Jordan, great question. Some shows have fight choreographers because a fight might be big and complicated. You want to have a series of beats. It will be different in every single one. If you watch, there's a great series with stunt people called Stunt People React. It's it's a YouTube channel by Corridor Crew, and they bring stunt people in who are real stunt people. The last one is with this woman, Lauren Mary Kim, and she's an amazing stunt performer. She's an amazing martial artist. She's been on the Mandalorian, and she doubled some of the main characters on these Marvel shows. She's incredible, and she talks about how she collaborates with fight choreographers in more depth. I'm sort of a middle-level fight person, so I don't do a lot of collaborating, but we will always have some collaboration. If a fight choreographer comes in and I want this and then this and then this, and it has to be like this, they're imagining something that might not actually be possible. It might be limited by my skill set or my speed. Someone might be able to do it, but you can't always get the person that you need for that job who can make it perfect because they're working on something else for 9 months in a row. You can't get them for the one day you need them. But there's a lot of collaboration. I would say most of the time you're hoping you can do every single thing the fight choreographer asks, but they are going to change their minds as they see the fight. I did a fight scene with an actor named Matt Dillon and he was fighting Willem Dafoe. And so we were rehearsing the fight for them. And we worked on that fight for about a week, making small changes throughout the week, pitching small ideas that we have, and letting that fight choreographer, who was James Liu, have the final say in every single situation, because our goal is to give him exactly what he wants, but saying, James, I don't think Willem Dafoe, who's in his 60s, is going to be able to do this stunt. Like he's going to hurt his shoulder after 1 or 2 times, and we have to make sure we don't hurt Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe. Yeah. So there's a lot of collaboration, but I strongly recommend that YouTube series. They're really fun, and those are the only serious professional stunt people making great content. I take back what I said earlier, where I said there's none. You're so welcome. Jordan, are you interested in learning how to do fight stuff? Is that why you asked? Or that's a very good question. Like you knew more than you're letting on, right? You give Jordan a chance to answer. Because not everybody knows there's a fight choreographer. You think it just happens. You think it's just a bunch of people get together and decide how they want to fight. Oh, okay. You're just smart. Okay. I mean, one thing to say about that is I'm a stunt person, but it's not always the stunt person doing the fight. If you're a fight choreographer and you try to tell Jackie Chan what to do, he might sort of change it a little bit, the way The Rock changed his fight choreography, because he knew how to do it safer and get a better result and get it. And we got it in 1 take, I think. I don't think we did more than 1. I know we're getting close to the amount of time we have, but I'm happy to talk to people as much as you want. I'm going to put my contact info in here. If anyone wants to email me, have more questions, has questions about film in general, if that's what you're interested in doing. There's a lot more film alumni now, and there's a lot more connection back to it thanks to this film festival. There was a guy who was here last year that I talked to about lighting, and now he works all over the country doing lighting as a William and Mary 21, 22-year-old William and Mary grad who just graduated. He's working all over. I worked with him on a music video recently. It's a very small world. So, if you get the right advice, you can get into it pretty quickly.